everybody. I hope you're having a really great day wherever you are. I thought I would just put together a really quick video with some of my thoughts about a couple different art supplies that I recently picked up from my local art shop. Originally I had wanted to pick up some of the Faber Castell watercolor pencils, but unfortunately my art store did not have them. So instead I went with a brand that I'm at least familiar with. It's the Loft, 8-pack watercolor pencils, nothing fancy, reasonably priced. They're these student grade quality art supplies. The benefit, I guess, it could be a benefit or a negative depending on your opinion on brushes, but it does come with a watercolor brush. So when I was recording this footage originally, I recorded myself using the watercolor pencils on the Cali on the left hand side and the Faber Castell watercolor crayons on the Cali on the right hand side. Fortunately, somehow between filming and editing, I lost the footage of me coloring in the colored pencil version. So unfortunately I don't have any of that footage to show you, but basically the Loft watercolor pencils are, again, they're student grade, so I didn't expect too much, but they're very light, as in they're not very pigmented. The color does not come onto the paper very saturated. You won't get a very deep, rich color with these unless you use a lot of layers. So I had to do several layers, building up color, varying my strokes to try to avoid that streaky look that you sometimes can get with watercolor pencils. And the colors that I was able to get were pretty good, even with layering different colors on top of each other. I did notice later on when I was blending the pigment with the water that the watercolor pencils tended to not blend as well, but these I have noticed came out looking very washed out, which in some cases could be a good thing if you're going for more of a desaturated or pastel look. Maybe this would be something you would go for. With the Faber Castell watercolor crayons, they are what's called their red line, I believe. So it's comparable to the regular Faber Castell, but more of a student grade quality. Also reasonably priced. It comes with a decent amount of colors. One thing I did notice with these is that they are very thick. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but they are almost like giant kid crayons in how thick they are, which makes them kind of clunky, a little harder to hold. The point on them is very dull, so you're not going to get any of those fine details that you might try with the smaller crevices and things like that. They're a little bit harder to get color into. Another thing that I noticed right away, a huge difference between them and the watercolor pencils, is how pigmented they are. They are crazy pigmented. I was touching the page as light as possible because of how pigmented they are. Just the tiniest amount of pressure on the paper will give you all of that color that you see in the video, which can be good and sometimes not good depending on what kind of style or look you're going for. When it comes to blending, both of them blended fairly well with the water. I used my own brush just because I wasn't very satisfied with the quality of the brush that was included with the pencils or the crayons. With the watercolor crayons, it's very easy to blend. You do not need a lot of water. Starting out, you might make the mistake of adding too much water right away, like I did, and you'll get some of that bleed or that runoff. So that can be a little bit tricky to judge on how much water is necessary for each of the mediums, but I think it went fairly well. The Faber Castell blend really well, like I said, and the color just moves around the paper. The colors themselves blend together really well. So if you layer two different colored crayons on top of each other and try to blend them in. They do tend to blend very well. As far as drying, I believe that didn't take very long to dry at all. Overall, just very different mediums. Equally, they have their pros and their cons, depending on what kind of things that you're looking to do, but I think overall it was a successful sketch. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments or suggestions on other products or ways that you found that you've been successful with either the watercolor pencils or the watercolor crayons, or any brands that you'd like to recommend, go ahead and put them down in the comments. So with that, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. At this time, I'd also like to thank my patrons for your continued support. You guys rock. Hopefully I'll be able to make more successful videos in the future. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think, and be sure to check me out on social media as well. Thanks guys, and have a great day.